Watch how Dolly Parton keeps her 55-year marriage hot. The doctor is in. And so is his wife. The Real Housewives of Orange County's Heather Dubrow made a surprise appearance on tonight's all-new episode of Botched, as her husband, Dr. Terry Dubrow, wanted to introduce her to first-time patient Anacalia, a self-described sexy vamptress. Anacalia explained in a confessional that she's been 25 for the past 4,000 years. "I love the look of vampires," she said. "They're very sensual, sexy, dark, mysterious creatures, and their fangs are sexy. So I got some fangs." That's not all she got, though. Over the years, Anacalia's had 4 breast surgeries, an upper eyelid procedure, a rib removal, and, much to Dr. Dubrow and Dr. Paul Nassif's surprise, an operation with the goal of creating a designer vagina. Essentially, as Anacalia tells the Botched docs, she wanted an accentuated camel toe. "You want to show the camel toe these days?" Dr. Dubrow replied. "Like, go with the toe?" "Pretty much." Dr. Dubrow remained baffled. But unlike Dr. Nassif, he at least knew what a camel toe was. So he decided to FaceTime Heather and get her take on the supposed. "Did you know that having a camel toe now is actually a thing?" Dr. Dubrow asked. "It's a fashion feature." She wasn't buying it, responding, "To me, a camel toe is a UTI or a yeast infection waiting to happen." Added the Real Housewife, "This is not fashion, this is fungi." "Well, you know what they say," Dr. Dubrow replied. "If you have a camel toe, you may have a fungi." Cue the awkward laughter. Camel toe discourse aside, the real reason Anacalia sought out the Botched docs was because one of her areolas was shifting to the right. To fix this, Dr. Dubrow explained he'd have to remove skin on the inner portion of the areola and then move it over in the other direction. However, that's not a thing, he said. It won't work. Instead, Dr. Dubrow recommended that Anacalia should remove the breast expanders she had put in, as they're not designed to stay in forever. They will rupture because they're not made with the same thickness and testing standards as a real breast implant, he added, also noting, every time you put a needle in there, your chance of infection starts to go up. Watch. 7 Most Memorable Botched Moments of 2021. Anacalia wasn't exactly convinced, admitting in a confessional, "I am very thankful the doctors gave me this information. I do take their opinions to value. But I am probably gonna get another fill and see how my areolas react to that." While Anacalia didn't go under the knife, 2 other patients did. See their transformations below and hear their stories by watching the full episode of Botched here. Bye-bye ballsack foot. Upon meeting the Botched docs, Destiny joked that she had a ballsack on her foot. In reality, the growth was the result of a rare affliction, so rare. Thatch became the subject of a medical journal report when she was just 13 months old, known as a lipoblastoma. Thankfully, Dr. Dubrow was able to greatly reduce the size. A complicated commissuroplasty. All Patia wanted was to get her life and identity back after a surgeon accidentally made her mouth opening smaller. Much to her delight, the Botched docs were able to help. Beast of burden. Jasmine felt self-conscious about a beast birthmark running from the back of her ear down her neck. From itching to sweating, the birthmark was a major inconvenience for Jasmine, and also a possible health risk if it kept growing, according to Dr. Dubrow. With the help of Dr. Nassif's ingenious tissue expander idea, Jasmine was rid of her birthmark once and for all. Past life complaints. Aya received calf implants 17 years ago after having a breakthrough past life immersion experience. Admittedly obsessed with how her legs looked, Aya realized that she was suffering from a subconscious memory from her past. "In my past life, I was a German soldier," Aya explained. "I was on the battlefield and something blew up next to my legs." Yet, after getting her implants, she was faced with some present life problems. "All I wanted was bigger calves, and now I have deformed purple legs," she complained. "They look like they came from another human being." She taped down her legs to compress them, and also revealed that her right leg felt like it was on fire. Dr. Dubrow realized that Aya's implant was bent on itself and harming her nerves. Both implants were removed, and Aya could see her natural legs. Once again, a giant chin. Yasmin was fed up with her lumpy and bumpy chin, which she called her giant. At age 14, Yasmin had surgery that took fat from her stomach to reconstruct her chin following an accident. Yet, Yasmin remained self-conscious of the bottom half of her face for years. Dr. Nassif tightened the skin around her chin to smooth the contours and also lifted up the tissue to fix Yasmin's slightly droopy mouth. It was yet another success story for the doc. Reconstruction rescue. Shanna was checked for the BRCA2 gene following her father's Paget's disease diagnosis for the male equivalent of breast cancer. Shanna underwent a double mastectomy in 2014, but her reconstructive implants were not properly expanding. Dr. Dubrow quickly realized that Shanna still had remaining breast tissue, which put her at risk of contracting breast cancer. Thankfully, he removed all of the tissue and Shanna could breathe easy with her new and improved hot mess nose. Real estate agent Christie fell for retail medicine at its worst when it came to her 2-for-1 rhinoplasty procedure. Her past doctor blamed her defective cartilage, but Dr. Nassif is determined to fix Christie's slanted nose. Yet, her procedure comes with a slight surprise while she's under the knife drive. Nassif dealt with unexpected booze thanks to Christie's alcohol intake leading up to her surgery. This probably will not be the last time a white claw gets me in trouble, Christie joked after her nose job. But I just see what I feel like should have been on my face my entire life. Consider her surgery a huge success. Coral reef relief. Lifelong professional surfer Bruno has been suffering from 2 mystery masses for years. Thankfully, his pathology results came back negative for cancer, but drive. Dubrow and Dr. Nassif were still baffled by the barnacles and coral-like tissue that they removed from Bruno's chest. At least he's back doing what he was. Medito do. Riding the waves. Lumpy, nose woes. Brittany got a nose job as a teenager without telling her mother, leaving her with an Owen Wilson nose. Dr. Nassif realized Brittany's bones were straight, but it was her cartilage that had deviated over the years. Despite the risky surgery, Dr. Nassif put Brittany's nose back intact. I am so happy, Brittany beamed. I am beginning to love myself more. Low butt gone wrong. Juliana wanted a plump rear like Jennifer Lopez and following her weight loss, but multiple visits to a doctor in Colombia only left her with a deformed behind that put her on the brink of divorce. Thankfully, Dr. Dubrow was there to remove all implants and silicone injections, and help put Juliana back on the pot off a natural butt, wrestling an asymmetrical nose. Sarah felt self-conscious after breaking her nose at age 8 during a wrestling match. Yet the competition was only the half of it, Sarah's possible body dysmorphia disorder took root while comparing herself to her triplet sister. Dr. Nassif thankfully fixed Sarah's nose so she could be proud of her new look. Bobbing for Baywatch boobs. Deanna was hoping for a Pamela Anderson look with bouncing Baywatch breasts, but she instead got 2 rotten apples with a bite taken out of her chest. Yikes. Despite Deanna's freak show bosom, Dr. Dubrow recrafted her breast implants to be more shapely. Fixed parrot's beak. After 3 failed surgeries, Yesenia thought her nose looked like it was smashed against a window permanently. Dr. Nassif treated her collapsed nostrils, empty nose syndrome and former parrot-like nose so Yesenia could finally get the before and after photos she dreamed of. Dented booty call. Takima suffered from a misshapen behind after a tummy tuck, butt implants and Brazilian butt lift. Thankfully Dr. Dubrow crafted new cheeks for Takima to feel confident after losing her basketball-sized Dunkum rear end. IU disaster. David is convinced his mother's IUD was the cause of his misshapen nose. Thankfully Dr. Nassif can reconstruct it so David can be headache-free and breathe. Flapjack breasts. Firefighter Jody underwent multiple breast augmentation surgeries that ultimately left her with a deflated chest. Thanks to Dr. Dubrow, Jody now feels like a woman again after receiving the correct implant size. Rocky nose nonsense. Jessica couldn't breathe after 3 failed surgeries to fix her Rocky Mountain Range nose. Thanks to Dr. Paul Nassif, Jessica's nose was fixed just in time for her to return to her hiking hobby. Tummy tuck terror. Newly divorced single mom Maritza underwent a risky tummy tuck and liposuction procedure in Mexico that resulted in her losing her belly button. Dr. Terry Dubrow reconstructs both her stomach and her confidence in a shocking procedure. Shark bite-sized gaping hole. Donnie was living in fear after a severe car accident left him with a shark bite-shaped gash on his left side. Thanks to Dr. Dubrow, Donnie underwent a tummy tuck type procedure to remove the skin graft, just in time for shirtless summers again on the beach. Nose from hell. This patient needed a nose job from the inside out, but after a severe lupus flare-up, she finally was ready to breathe easy for the first time in years. Havia Dr. Nassif knows, she later joked to her husband. Back from Whoville, Holly couldn't help but joke before her wedding day that she looked like she belonged in Dr. Seuss' fictional Whoville town after an accident left her with a broken nose and a botched nose job. Even Dr. Paul Nassif was left speechless after examining her nose that was missing serious amounts of cartilage. Yet the top doctor knew how to piece her nose back together again just in time for Holly's big day. Armpitties disaster. For patient Samantha, it was impossible not to sweat the small stuff. After giving birth, Samantha seemed to have grown a second set of breasts under her armpits. Dr. Terry Dubrow at first tested to see if there were thyroid complications, but after her results came out all clear, Samantha underwent liposuction for her pits. The mother of 2 finally got to wear the sleeveless wedding dress of her dreams once she felt confident enough to show off her arms again. Nose leeches. Louise traveled across the pond to meet with Dr. Nassif. According to the new patient, a bike accident and several surgeries resulted in her septum fully deviating to the left. Since Louise's surgery with Dr. Nassif was her 4th surgery, her blood supply wasn't great. Thus, Dr. Nassif called for leeches to be used on Louise's nose to help her heal. Thankfully, Louise was happy with the results. Melting mounds. New patient Annie turned to Dr. Terry Dubrow after 3 breast surgeries left her with melting mounds. After being diagnosed with diabetes, the California resident decided to undergo the gastric bypass procedure. While the weight loss procedure helped Annie drop 100 pounds in 6 months, it caused her boobs to essentially vanish. In order to fix this problem, Annie received a lift and an augmentation, but was left with 2 different sized implants and excess skin. A second surgery to right this botched boob job left Annie worse off than she was before. A third surgery, by a different surgeon, was also ineffective. Although Annie's case was high risk, Dr. Dubrow agreed to the surgery and used surgical techniques he invented to give the patient breasts she could be proud of. 8th and final nose job. Transgender patient Maria needed Dr. Nassif help after several botched nose jobs and necrosis left her with a melted candle-looking nose. It doesn't aesthetically look normal. It doesn't look pretty, she lamented in a confessional. I know that people are sort of looking at me saying, God, that girl went too far. In order to give Maria the nose of her dreams, Dr. Nassif utilized at least 6 different grafts in a glue canoe. I am done with having anything done to my nose for sure, Maria said in a voiceover. IMF, King Beautiful. One last boob job. After 4 disastrous boob jobs, one of which had her nipple rotting away, new patient Sarah turned to Dr. Dubrow in the hope he could give her 2 symmetrical breasts and reduce her scarring. After examining Sarah's case, Dr. Dubrow suggested an implant removal and a breast lift. Trusting only the botched surgeon, Sarah agreed to the surgery and had her breast implants removed. I couldn't ask for anything more, Sarah said in a confessional post-surgery. Non-surgical no. New patient Melissa was determined to fix the shape of her nose to her liking and thought a non-surgical procedure would be the easiest way to do so. However, as she explained to doctors Terry Dubrow and Paul Nassif, what was supposed to be a quick fix, a simple filler injection, ended up blocking the blood flow in her nose, resulting in necrosis. Dr. Nassif was ultimately able to give Melissa's nose more shape and contour, but since it was a complicated operation, the results would take some time to fully show. Thankfully, the Botched crew checked back in with Melissa weeks later, and she was happy to report that week by week, her nose is getting smoother. Bargain boob job. As Parisa detailed to the Botched doctors, a cheap boob job abroad resulted in a terrible infection and she found herself in the emergency room. "I went to the emergency room and I was crying," the new patient lamented. The doctor came in and he said, "You need to take this out now. If the infection go into your bloodstream, you're dead." Parisa listened to the doctor and had the implant removed. However, later on, the former dancer found herself wanting 2 even breasts. Thankfully, Dr. Dubrow was able to give her just that through surgery. Saving face. Doctors Paul Nassif and Terry Dubrow met with new patient Hope, who had multiple surgeries to repair her face after a terrible motorcycle accident. Per the new patient, after her crash, she had 7 reconstructive surgeries and required a feeding tube for a year. Although Hope knew her face would never be the same, she hoped the Botched doctors could even things out in order to help her social life. And Dr. Nassif did just that. After assembling a skilled surgical team, Nassif oversaw as Hope had the following done: the removal of a metal plate, a fat graft implanted, scar revision and a procedure to clear her airway. Weeks later, she had filler injected in order to make things more symmetrical. Boobies without borders. After 6 failed breast reductions, new patient Meredith was left worse off than when she started her plastic surgery journey. As Meredith recounted to the Botched doctors, her previous surgeon convinced her to get implants with her reduction and was left looking like she had 4 breasts. Multiple attempts to fix this botched boob job left Meredith with more scarring and deeper insecurities. Thankfully, Dr. Dubrow had a game plan to fix Meredith's chest. Although the surgery wasn't an easy one, Dr. Dubrow gave Meredith the smaller and more symmetrical breasts she always wanted.